Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about Jack Smith's request to just take the January 6th case off the calendar in Judge Chutkan's courtroom for about a month until December 2nd. What that means is the litigation over immunity, which Trump was due to respond to on November 21st, and other things that were ongoing are just frozen out. And as Jack Smith said, the defendant is now the president-elect, and in light of these unprecedented circumstances, and indeed they are, we would like time now just to figure out how to proceed. Okay, so everyone understands that come January 20th, Trump can simply, with a wave of the hand, make the cases go away. There's a little bit of confusion here because it is true that the Office of Legal Counsel has this policy that we saw play out in Trump's first term that says you can't indict a sitting president. It's not exactly clear what would happen with an already indicted one, given all the considerations that are in that opinion. But that's beside the point, because the real immediate hammer that's going to come down is simply an edict from the new president to the attorney general saying, go into court and dismiss this case, and dismiss it with prejudice, meaning you can't bring it again. As an aside, it's not 100% clear. A judge could say, I dismiss it, but not with prejudice. That would be a possibility, though I don't think it's likely here. But anyway, Jack Smith says, we'll come back and tell you what we want to do. And on December 2nd, Judge Chutkan immediately granted that motion. So now what? What's going on within the department? Okay, as I've suggested before, it makes no sense for Smith in either this case or the Mar-a-Lago case to try to move forward and advance the ball or whatever. Wherever the ball is come January 20th, it won't be over the goal line, and Trump will blow the whistle and say game over. So what sorts of considerations are in his mind now? I would say first and foremost is the question of whether to write a report. Now, the regulations that he was appointed under, which, by the way, Trump has argued successfully to Judge Eileen Cannon in the Mar-a-Lago case, which I'll get back to momentarily, don't actually provide sufficient authority for Jack Smith's appointment. That's a whole kind of remaining mess to potentially clean up. But they, under those regulations, he may write a report to the Attorney General. Now, typically that report is to explain a decision to prosecute or to decline. We are neither fish nor fowl here, right? It's not a decision to decline. On the contrary, they've gone full speed ahead and indicted. It's not a decision to indict because that decision already has been made. So, and this is even going to be more important in the Mar-a-Lago case. In the January 6th case, we have a pretty big and full paper record of just what happened. We have it from the January 6th committee in Congress, which had really extensive hearings and evidence and documents and testimony and a very big report. And in the January 6th prosecution before Chutkan, we at least have that big filing that Jack Smith made about a month ago relative to the immunity question, which lays out all the evidence paragraph by paragraph. And of course, so much of those crimes took place in plain view. Even the attempts to get false electors and the things that were done to try to strong arm Georgia. All of that is stuff we know about, but it's an important public need, I would submit, that these acts that the government has investigated not be lost to history. In Mar-a-Lago, by contrast, we have next to nothing. We have the indictment that's come out, and then Cannon has just tied them up repeatedly. The issue of the authority is now in the 11th Circuit. It's not clear to me. I think it's less likely than not that they will not, the 11th Circuit, decide that case before January 20th. Right now, it's briefed and in front of them, but no oral argument date has been set. And this is some really serious transgressions on the part of a former president who treated documents as if they were his own playthings, his own property, even after his presidency, to do with, it seems, as he likes. But we really don't know the story hardly at all. And if Jack Smith leaves that building and there hasn't been a report, God knows if we ever will. So Smith has to be considering, should I do a report, especially in the Mar-a-Lago case? Merrick Garland has said if Jack Smith does a report, Garland, will publish it. So then the American people would have some chronicle of what the Department of Justice had established or what evidence it had developed before the case is shut down. Now, it seems likely to me that if a report begins to be prepared, Trump goes berserk and tries to do anything he can to keep it from being prepared and to keep it from being published. You really want to keep it, if you're him, from being prepared, because anything that's been prepared has a way of being published. But the basic argument that we now need as a nation, this historical account, will be the exact thing that Trump tries to smother. He'll say, no, it's just been a political prosecution and the American people voted against it and they haven't brought things in court. And the Department of Justice isn't supposed to make commentary when they don't bring a case. Of course, there is that rule. Famously, Jim Comey violated it in the 2016 lead up in the Hillary Clinton-Trump election, but it's not at all clear how that rule applies once the DOJ, it is still the DOJ under Merrick Garland with the appointment of Jack Smith, has decided to bring a case. So remember that in the Robert Hur appointment as a special counsel to investigate whether President Biden had committed any crimes with documents, Hur did a whole report. It was the one that portrayed Biden as doddering, and there was actually testimony about it in Congress. That precedent suggests that that's something that should also happen here. Now, you're going to have, though, allies in Congress already, the Jim Jordans of the House, flexing their muscles, trying to keep it from happening, and rattling their sabers, suggesting they are going to investigate Jack Smith for breaking the law. That's already been the suggestion, and I think it'll be amplified if Jack Smith begins the process of putting together a report. So that could be a really high-stakes showdown involving law, but really sort of raw politics, and what lies in the balance is whether or not the American people will literally ever have an account of what happened in this very serious crime by a former president that may have put our national security at risk, may have had other repercussions, and we really don't know the full facts, nothing like it, to what extent Trump ordered the co-conspirators around, how involved he was personally. These are things that really, just as a matter of public record, not to mention being the ability to, have a political response to the former president and soon to be again president's alleged crimes. So this month, I think, is going to be a lot of consideration of whether to do a report, and the Trump forces, who are already in the Department of Justice, by the way. There's already a transition team fanning out in the department and making plans and interviewing people and the like. I think are going to be dead set against it, and that could be a really interesting and high stakes showdown. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.